In this lesson, let's talk a little bit about planning your site, design and function. I'm all about making your site function properly, but to me it's equally as important that it look appealing and draw people in. If you don't get people past your homepage, you've kind of failed at what you've done because no one's going to go any further if it's not interesting. So let's talk about some of the things you need to ask yourself as you're beginning to plan your site. What's the message you're trying to convey? Are you selling a product? Are you trying to get across an idea or a concept to people? These are things that you need to think about. What is the message that you want people to take away from your website? Do you have particular colors in mind? Are you working with a brand? Do you need to use the exact colors that are in someone's logo, or are you free to use whatever colors you want? Remember that color can be used to help organize your content as well, so keep that in mind as you're designing. Have you chosen fonts? Fonts can be a great way to add interest and appeal to your site, but maybe the fonts aren't important to you. Maybe you're just sticking with a serif or a sans serif font. But if there is a designer font that's used in the logo and you want to repeat that through some of the headings throughout your content, those are things you need to think about ahead of time. What role will graphics play in the design of your content? Are you using graphics to help tell the story, or are they simply just there for fluff? And if they are there to tell the story, they need to be high quality, they need to match and be relevant with the content. Have you listed the necessary pages for the site? So in other lessons within this workshop, we talk about hierarchy and how you can plan your website and make sure that all of the right pages are in place. So it's a very good idea to plan all of this before you even begin building your first web page. What will be the focus of the homepage? Will it have graphics? Will it have an image gallery? Will there be a video? Will just simply be text content? You want to make it appealing. You definitely want to get your message across, but you want to make it appealing so people will stay on your site and actually want to explore. Placement of objects on the page can vary from boring to interesting. Let's explore that a little bit. Here's a basic layout of just a photo of one of the covered bridges, with the name of the bridge centered above it and the photo caption below it. This particular placement is boring. So the font is the same for the headline and for the photo caption, and it just looks boring. Here we've shaken it up a little bit just by simply moving the placement of the text. So most people tend to line things up with the edge of the photo. Here I just moved it off to the left more and the photo caption off to the right a little bit more, and already it's starting to look a little bit more interesting without really changing anything else. So this placement is definitely better, has a little bit more visual interest because now we've actually taken the headline and given it a different font. It's bolder, and the photo caption is now in italic. So the headline actually has more emphasis. It's far more important than the photo caption, even though the photo caption does have my name in it. Here I've taken it and started adding a little bit of color. So this I laid out in Illustrator, but this is the photo with a dropped shadow behind it. And I've picked up a color using the eyedropper tool and put a staggered rectangle behind it, sort of like a faux drop shadow. And look what I did with the photo caption, just running it up the side and making it in a smaller font so it's noticeable, but it doesn't jump out at you. And here I've chosen another color from the wood inside the bridge, and I've made this little rectangle that runs off the page and goes parallel with this top section. So again, just adding more visual interest. Things are layered here. I like how this photo is layered over top of both of these elements. Just again, drawing attention to the photo first and foremost. So it says you can see how color and placement can really make an impact, and I think it really does. The last piece of advice I'd like to share with you in this lesson is to explore. Ideas and inspiration are everywhere, so keep your eye open. You'll find things even in nature that can give you inspiration. Look at other sites you like, find ones you like, and even find ones you don't like. What don't you like about them? You want to make sure you don't repeat that within your own site. Check out print materials as well. Just because it's web design, good design is good design, so you might find something in print that you really like. I recommend to most of my students to start a notebook of inspiration. I get a 3-ring binder and I start making copies of things I like out of books, or tear out pieces of articles from newspapers or ads that I like. And I do recommend that you experiment. We do want our content to be functional. We want people to be able to get through it easily and logically, but we also want it to look really attractive so people will want to stay on the page. So these are just some ideas to keep in mind when you're planning your website.